Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Samir here, and today I'm so excited to share with you one more .NET performance tip where 90% of the developers make mistake and that really hampers their production, that hampers their .NET apps on production. So let's check it out. All right. Have you ever written code like this in .NET? You have list of invoices, you have list of items where invoice ID is there, and in the for loop you use the where condition dot to list and you assign the relevant items for that invoices into the list. Okay, now looking at I have also used this code in my production, and I'm sure many of you developers have used this syntax or use this style of coding in your .NET application, right? And there's nothing wrong in it. It works, it looks clean, but it's secretly killing your performance. How? How it is secretly killing your performance? Especially when the system scales to 10,000 invoice and 1 lakh items. So if there are 10,000 invoices over here and there are 1 lakh items over here, and for each loop it passes to 1 lakh items. For each invoice it passes to 1 lakh items, and then it uses where condition and matches the invoice ID and assigns the items to the invoice object, which is really scary. But don't worry, today I will show you a single change that can make this code 10x to 100x faster. You want to see? Hold on. I will also show you the performance using the where condition, and we're using the ToLookup. Okay, and we will see how ToLookup is much faster than using the where condition in for each loop. Let's check it out. All right. So this is a console application. Okay, it is made in .NET Core 8.0. It's a normal console application with program.cs. Okay, and let's start to develop. We start with public class invoice. Okay, this is invoice where we have invoice ID, invoice number, and customer name. A simple invoice class. Okay. Now with invoice, we have invoice product details class. Okay. So this is invoice product detail class where again we have invoice ID. Invoice ID is common over here so that we can map invoice ID. Product ID, product name, rate and quantity, which is a standard invoice product details class. Okay. Now let's fill this invoice list and invoice product detail list. Okay, so we declare over here two lists. Okay, one is the invoice list and one is the invoice product details list. Okay, assuming that this comes from database, what I will do is I will fill this invoice list and I will fill this invoice product detail list. Okay. Okay, so this is a simple code where I have used for loop and I have given some uh, dummy values to the invoice number. Invoice ID is nothing but the I loop, and customer name is nothing but Sam, and then the I loop, that is Sam 1 2 3 4 5. And I've put the whole invoice, I've assigned the values and put the whole invoice object in invoice list. Now let's fill the invoice product details list also. Okay, so this is nothing but invoice product detail list where I have used the random number and I have randomly assigned invoice ID. I don't have database right now over here, otherwise I have done it properly. But this is just a simulation of the database where you will get you will randomly items will get assigned to invoices. So this is invoice product details. I have given invoice ID. Product ID is nothing but I loop. Item is nothing but item 1 2 3. Quantity rate is same, and I have filled the invoice product details list. So if you see over here, you can simulate this with select asterisk from invoice table. Okay. By the way, never ever use asterisk. Always use column name. This is a bad coding. It will hamper your performance. But assume that you are getting two results from your database. This is select asterisk from invoice details, and you can say so this is select a strict from invoice product the table. Okay, and you fill this to list, and now you will, the thing is, you need to use the where condition, and then you need to assign the relevant product items with that invoice. Okay, so just to print this both lists so that you can get a clear picture of how the data is getting inserted into the list, let's do a for each loop on invoice and then a for each loop on invoice product details, and let's see how it is getting assigned. Let's check it out. I'm running this console application. Okay, it is getting executed. Yeah, so this is the invoice list where we have invoice ID, that is 1234, invoice number and customer name, and this is invoice product details. So two products are assigned to invoice one product is assigned to invoice two, three products are assigned to invoice three, and four products are assigned to invoice four. Okay, so this is just a representation of the list, how it is being filled. Definitely we will increase these numbers because in production and in our live environment we have multiple hundreds and thousands of invoice and lakhs of items. Okay, so in this public class invoice, now I'm going to I'm going to add list of invoice product details, invoice product details list. Okay, and now here comes the part where ideally what people do, all the developers do, is for each loop where invoices, invoice, okay, sorry, invoice dot invoice product detail list is equal to invoice product details dot where and dot invoice ID is equal to invoice dot invoice ID dot to list. Let me put it down over here. Okay, so this is the common mistake which all the developers do basically, is they use the where loop inside, sorry, dot is over here, dot should be over here. Okay, and then this is where this line where your API gets slow, your background jobs get slow because of this. And I will show you the performance. Uh, I will show you the performance difference, how it is going to hamper when there are many records. Okay, so now what I will do is I will just increase this numbers to 1000 invoice and 10,000 products, random 1000. We'll comment this code. Now we don't want to print the list. Okay, and we will do, I'm not using benchmark.net, I'm keeping it a bit simple. Time start is equal to data dot now dot day of time. Okay, and console dot write line where loop starts. Oh, sorry. When the loop is getting ended, ends, time span, time end, time dot date dot now. Okay, and the loop ends. Now we will have the difference where loop difference is time end minus time start. Okay, so this will give us the difference. So what I have done over here, I have punched the time when the loop starts, when the loop ends, I have punched the time, and this is the difference. And let's check when you have 1,000 invoice and 10,000 items, how much time it takes. Okay, I'm just running the code. Okay, where loop start, where loop ends, and this is hours, minutes, seconds, milliseconds. So it is taking 1,000 milliseconds is equal to 1 second. So it is taking approximately 1508 milliseconds. Okay, 1508 milliseconds. Now, if I increase the invoice by 2,000 and product items by 20,000, let's check. It will take more time, the where loop inside the for each. Okay, 5,924 milliseconds. That's insane. That's really insane. Okay. So now what is an alternative to this? Okay, this is the problem which everyone faces in their .NET project, in their production project. Okay. Now what is an alternative to this and how to make it quick? So it's very simple. Where lookup is equal to invoice product detail list dot to lookup. Okay, and we want to look up on invoice ID exactly. Okay, now for each invoices, the object name is invoice. Okay, so now we have invoice dot invoice product detail list is equal to lookup invoice dot invoice ID dot to list. Okay, just by doing to lookup before the for each loop and then assigning the items to its relevant invoices, this code will be 10x faster than the code which is above where you are using where loop. And I will prove it. Let's do again same thing. Time start, time end. So this is time start. Okay. This is time end. Oh, okay. Maybe time start. Lookup loop starts. Okay, but we will do some nice thing over here. Console dot write line. Let us put some so that we come to know. Okay. Lookup loop starts. Lookup loop ends. And lookup loop difference. Right? So now let's check it out. This code where there is a where condition and this code where there is a to lookup. The data is same, the concept is same, the result which you want to achieve is same, but see how where condition is taking hell lot of time and the to lookup is so quick. I'm just starting the project. Okay, so the where loop took 5757 milliseconds, whereas lookup took only 59 milliseconds. Man, this is crazy. This is really crazy. So, whenever guys you want to use where condition in for each, then please use to lookup rather than using the where condition. Where condition is really a shortcut where the code look nice, everything looks great, but when the data increase, this is the difference which you feel. So now you might be thinking that why this where is taking so much of time and how come the tool lookup is so fast. Okay, I'll just give you how internally the .NET works. Okay, so suppose we have 1,000 invoices and we have 10,000 items. So what this where loop does is for one invoice, it loops for 10,000 items. For the second invoice, it loops for 10,000 items. For the third invoice, it loops for 10,000 items. For the fourth invoice, it loops for 10,000 items. So in short, this is 1,000 multiplied by 10,000 times it loops every time. Okay. And as far as lookup is concerned, how come lookup is very fast? So internally what .NET do in lookup is whenever you use invoice product details dot to lookup and invoice ID, it creates a hash index within it. So what it does internally .NET is it creates dictionary with key and list of value. Okay, so what happens over here is you have invoice ID 1 and you might be having two objects over here. Okay, obj1, obj5, and invoice object obj120. Okay, then suppose if we carry forward this, if you have invoice ID 2, then this might be obj11, this might be obj50. Okay. So what it does is internally it creates dictionary with a key and list of value. So when you want to directly assign in your for each loop, you directly take the invoice ID and you assign all the objects over here in your invoice product detail list, which is very fast. So I hope you got the gist of how to lookup is much faster than dot where condition. So let's now go back to our presentation. Okay, there is one concern where not to use to lookup. Okay, suppose if you have a small data of 10 to 30 records, then there is no need of using to lookup. You can use dot where condition. I'm not telling that where condition is bad all the time. If you have one time search, okay, now if you see in our example that we have 1,000 invoices, so every time we have to search the invoice. But if you want to search only one time, then you don't have to use to lookup and all those things because it is just where condition you can get it. Why? Because to lookup eats up little bit of your RAM memory. where that's why if it is a small if there are small records, if there is one time search, then you don't have to use .toLookup. And if you are using, if you know you have the problem of RAM in your server, like it's a memory critical system like IoT device or low RAM container, then try not to avoid ToLookup. Sorry, not to use ToLookup. Okay, so the final takeaway, the golden rule is never use list.where inside loop on large collection. Okay, do remember that. Whenever you whenever you come or you face such scenario where you have to use where condition in your large for each loop, always try to use ToLookup and don't use where condition. Fine. If you learn anything from this video, then please subscribe the channel, like this video, and share with your friends. Thank you very much.